bonsoir tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, on va tester Never Alone, un jeu que ça fait un petit moment que j'avais dans la banette et que j'avais jamais eu l'occasion de tester. Bah, let's go. Parti. Alors, ça se joue à la manette. Et hop, on démarre. Ah,
Bienvenue Crockneton.
salut Monsieur Nitten. Les langues français, allemand, italien, japonais, portugais, russe, suédois. Celui-là, je pourrais pas vous dire. Xiaomi, peut-être la langue des, euh, des Inuits, la langue des Esquimaux. Pays-Bas, polonais, danois, coréen, anglais, chinois, espagnol, du côté de l'Amérique latine. Nous, on va rester sur français, hein. Allez, let's do it. Les Inupiats sont un peuple de l'Alaska qui vit depuis des milliers d'années dans l'un des plus formidables environnements sur Terre. Apprenez-en davantage sur les Inupiats par les notions culturelles déverrouillables en cours de jeu.
Unipkaaqutiarsiitpin taalaranilaqannassuq unipkaaqtuaq qaaviuraqama niviaqsiaqarualugguuq iñuuniaqanersuq angayoqaagamani sumitaimma niviaqsiaqarualuqanguniallatunersaq aasiisulaqallavluni supayaanik iñuuniaqutик anuqqautigait anuqulingaallaaqsuq anuqulingaalliaqpaalluni kisaimma panerinealiaqsivut niviaqsiaqarualuk kisaimma isummeqpoq tavraasi kangitsaquaqsigaassumman anuqlisuguruqumagaan summan anuqulingaallaarimagaan tavraasi kangitsaquaqsigaassumman anuqlisuguruqumagaan
ZZZZ.
anuquliqpaalluni suniuraqanaitsoqunni tavrani viaqsiaqarualuk ayuungitsoq payyagniuliqsoq
Un ours? Il a fait me grailler déjà au début. Joue en mode coopératif. Espace, appuie sur la touche. Une seconde manette pour rejoindre en tant que renard. Appuie sur Y. Ah, je pourrais jouer au jeu avec Maya.
Tokutawayak-tok sisimreome. Araanapkangapiak-tok.
Le temps ne s'améliorait pas et à ce blizzard, on succédait à un autre. On va devoir regarder ça.
One of the things I think a lot of people need to understand is we aren't a museum piece. The Inupiaq people are a living people and a living culture. Even though we're in northern Alaska, which covers this vast area from Nome all the way over the Canadian border, is that there is this extreme value of interconnectedness and interdependence.
It's a hunting society, a gathering society from thousands of years.
This is what creates our culture.
That special relationship between humans and the natural world and the animals, and that it teaches you how to have a society that doesn't do too much harm to the world.
Love and respect for nature, for one another, for our elders.
Eux, ils doivent vivre de l'autre
Very,
côté de la
very
planète, ils savent même pas c'est qui Trump.
Key to life.
Our values are something that bind us all. The importance of sharing with one another, the importance of spirituality, and the connection to the land, our traditions, how we hunt, sharing of stories and songs and dances.
I'm Inupiaq. I'm from the Arctic Ocean.
I am Inupiaq.
It's very important to me. It's who I am as a person.
And we're very proud of who we are, and we want to continue that.
It'd be busy, busy, busy all through the day. You get up and you just go right to work, right to work.
There's always something to do. There's never any idle time. The only idle time we had was after we eat and before we go to bed.
One of the older people would just be relaxing, laying down there and saying, it'd be really nice to hear a story. And then just organically, someone would just start telling a story.
Storytelling for the Nupiaq people is very important because it not only created that sense of community, but is a way to pass on wisdom to the next generation.
It was like TV, you know? It was just like, it was as good as anything, any movie you've ever seen. And the storyteller told it so clearly that it was just as powerful as any of the greatest movie blockbusters you've ever seen.
There was a reason behind the stories that we were told because they held traditional knowledge. They held things that we might need to know in life, whether it was about how to find food or how to survive, or it was about well-being and the importance of connecting with people and being a good member of the community.
Bienvenue _science.
Stories. We all live in stories. We all tell stories to our friends. And they need to be told. They need to be heard.
So scrimshaw is this really beautiful method of art that's done either on baleen or ivory, and traditionally it was used to tell stories.
Each etching is telling a story of some event. Caribou hunting was taking place. This is what was going on. War began around this time, and so it sort of gives you a timeline of history through etching.
An elder or the person who carved it would literally be able to read the scrimshaw story.
They're like reading a book, in a way.
A lot of the storytelling traditions would be things that after the storytelling was done, we'd just rely on the next person telling it. And so scrimshaw is a very important way for Alaskan Native people to record their history.
In your community. Bonjour, monsieur le hibou. Allez, Nouna. On s'est bien rétamé quand même. Ah, les jeux avec les QTE. Les jeux avec les QTE, ça va. Oh, ça va bien se passer, ça va bien se passer.
When I was growing up, my grandpa had a pet white fox. If you're a good friend with a fox, when there's danger abound, they try to keep you from getting into trouble. They pull tricks here and there, and foxes are like spoiled little kids in that way. When you let her out, she'd go prancing out in the snow, jumping in the air. I know she was happy then. Come running at me and jump on my chest, knock me backwards, lick my face, and I try not to let it. So that was my memory of my grandpa's pet fox.
Caribou it provided for us in many ways.
Our clothing in those days was made of all caribou skin.
I grew up wearing caribou pants, mittens, caribou skin mattress, blankets.
Some people had boots that were made with wolf leggings, sealskin sole bottoms. Baleen was shaved to make insoles. They kept us quite dry and warm as well. But the caribou skin clothing was the best. We would get as many yearlings as we could for our outer clothing. And for a heavy winter, we would get caribou in February or March because the hair was the longest and the skin was the thickest, and we would use those for our winter gear. With that stuff on, you could sleep outside in 50 below and it wouldn't bother you a bit.
Ah ouais! Fais attention à ça, hein. On va attendre le prochain. Dieu seul claque, ça souffle. Ah, pouf dans l'eau. Bien écouter avant que...
Niveaksiagaluk kangersingaluk supayat ikayok tikakanebilwich. Allauluni tam na terigan niak. Simuniksip kangaga niveaksiagaluk kanudun pekpaganak tilangit tamat kwa ikayok tauruat.
Je reviens. Ben non.
Say Delicio Croc Nighton.
Oh, le mort de faim.
Silla is the weather. It also means the atmosphere. Here's the nuna, or the land. And it's anything from the land into the moon, the sun, the stars. That's Silla.
It's a very spiritual, and we have a relationship with Silla. Silla has a soul in the same way we do as people, in the same way animals do.
I think spirit helpers in and of themselves are really about how we're connected with things. And so it may be that there is a spirit helper that shows themselves as a bird to show you the way home, or it may be a spirit helper that actually decides to show themselves with the face and body of a man instead of their animal form. And so I think one of the things that's hard to understand is that it's not one way of seeing things, it's one way of knowing you're connected to everything.
we've always had that spirituality of everything around us.
It's the interaction you have with the air you breathe, the ocean that you gather resources from, the rivers from which you gather fish, the tundra from which you pick berries, the animals that give themselves. It's all of that.
Une relation très 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 proche avec la nature. Ah, les petits humains sautent.
Iviarsiaralogulo terigannearalu ikayuti piaqtuk. Siqaqaniutimigani. Asa kangersinaichikun neqanok pisilang. Aglaan tabra atauchikun aingaruk.
In the winter, when we're traveling, we didn't build sod houses, we built snow houses. In Canada, they call them igloo, but here in Alaska, we call them apuya. We do a day of travel, and then
La
we'd make
pouilla,
a
pas
apuya.
des igloos chez eux.
The next day, my father would set traps, spend the day there, rest the dogs, give them something to eat, and then the following day, we continue to the next place. We'd go to my dad's sister, who had a house at Dubarg. They had a small sod house over there. We didn't have to do anything. We just visit with them, and my dad and my sister were glad to see each other, and they'd talk away while us kids played outside or go to sleep. By the time we get back to our home, my father would leave us with our aunt or with my grandmother, and then he'd start on his trips and go check his trap line. We were not into 8 to 5 kind of time, you know. We're in a total different kind. We're in ecological time.
Non, Lina, il n'y a rien de spécial, hein. C'est juste, je profite de la narrative du jeu, c'est tout, hein. Ah, faudrait que je fasse attention aux petites glissades comme ça. Si Laura n'arrêtait pas là, j'aurais rien pu faire. Hein. Pourquoi le village est en feu? Allez, je m'absente 2 minutes et il y a le village qui crame déjà.
In the winter, when we were traveling, we didn't build sod houses, we built snow houses. In Canada, they call them igloo, but here in Alaska, we call them apuya. We do a day of travel, and then we'd make a apuya. The next day, my father would set traps.
Iverksiarluallu tikitkaa aimarvini. Agalaan maluunaqsingamaraq. Inñoqulu tikinngamaroq iverksiarluallu piingaan. Ivahalaqsimaroq sumittaimma. Nikatjakkumañainniqsoq. Paqitqaangaarnagu ivaqtani. Nunaaqqiq ikiuaqtuaraniqsoq. Iñungi toquttaqtauganiqsit. Iverksiarluallu upperingitkaa tautuktani. Tautugunaqtuaq sunapayaaq siquminganiqsoq. Iverksiarluallum iuniaqatingi pisaullaganiqsut. Qanuqimña anuqulaqpallqiñam tainnaqumiñaitkaa. Tamaanga ikumauaqtuamin qaqraaqpam iñua niptaqtuq. Sumaalagullaqami niverksiarlullum piitsingingani. Agalaan qaqraaqpallqiñat sagavingaitjut. Immiñaurat sagaviqimiut samanga nunamin. Qaikuin tutiing. Qallaktuq iñugungaruaq uppik. Qanuquma ilisimaneqpaqa. Isumullaktuq niverksiarlualuq. Kanok kita pura kau ngagik pen. Kailangan tika piup ko. Ikayoko niya kalawik pen kimon dahil nanakek sa bakit ilanga.
Drum is something that's common to all cultures in Alaska. All cultures have a drum that may have some stylistic differences or differences in the materials that it's made, but it's still in recognition of life and vitality. And the drum mirrors the heartbeat. And when you continue drumming soon, it will be in line with your heartbeat, because that's what it's supposed to be, the heartbeat of the community, and it symbolizes vitality. And it's the most tremendous feeling to be in a room and to have one long row of all the drummers and to have that feeling of unity and everyone beating in harmony, the drum beat in unison. It's the most beautiful feeling. And to know that you're connected, you're on the land that you are connected to. And even if you grew up outside of the community, that which is in you comes from this area. And it's the greatest feeling.
Man, I went at it and look what happens. Oh.
They're just like other people. They just happen to be very small and extremely strong.
These are stories that are common throughout Alaska. It's normally that people are in a size from your elbow to the tips of your fingers, and they possess superhuman strength. So they may be tiny, but they can carry a whole caribou.
And if you go up north and you talk to a number of the people in the community, they'll talk about having seen the little people.
There's a place at home that we know, but we don't profess it to anybody.
But it's not like the boogeyman.
They can be mischievous, they can be ornery, or they can be helpers.
And every now and then, we might have the opportunity to see them, especially if they want us to see them.
The fact that it's across Alaska really tells you something about our history and how we interacted with nature around us.
Khilararak tuat diversero lo kaktike. Asi anipgitik suna itukto siguro magat. Diversero lo sabatokome ahlawit immenyaurat. Bakit ka upir kayaw dinga?
Ravi de vous rencontrer. Je suis Pando.
Ah, laissez-moi comme ça. Hop.
Diversero lo kutingarok kayaw delegahone. Upik ko pea chapalugarok. Asi tabura pivir tagaliw di pea lagaga. Diversero lo. Dahil nahone ay chudi hirakangarok. Upik ukalaktok. Uvaw na kao nagingagiga. Iliginun pikit kublugo.
Pourquoi tu me l'as pas donné depuis le début si c'était pour moi? Bolas.
The bola is what we call kilamitang.
Ebola, pardon.
Kilamitang is made out of braided sinew tied out to some heavy bone which you could twirl. In my case, we're catching ducks.
When we're out whaling, sometimes the ducks start flying. And they're good for duck hunting. You know, if you're a whaling crew, you can't make too much noise. So you can't use a shotgun for getting some duck soup handy, you know. So bola was a really handy weapon to use for catching ducks. You know, the ducks fly in, you throw it up and tangles up the bird, and down they go.
Une bonne détente quand même aussi. Oh là, oh là là là!
Tabra tayo na igilehotek.
La recherche de l'homme qui a... Ah! Non, c'était pas ça la solution. Mais... Compliqué le boulot ça. Hein. Faut que je me mette un peu plus proche, je pense. Non. Yeah! Oh, le Ronald. Ah, va passer, papa. Allez, moi et Crispy, on a peut-être trouvé la solution. Je pense à switch sur le petit humain après. Non! Ça passe pas, frère! Je peux plus là. De toute façon, il aurait fallu activer les deux si j'ai compris bien. Ah, faut attendre le vent souffle. Ok.
sila tane nunakimata inyukuluk kasuhag. Inyukulum taudu kami nutkakawa. Agala ibeak siya karuaduk sa perinaksimar.
Ah!
Kinalif sapi aktok taudu kami kilamitaw.
Mais non, mais j'ai sauté!
Taudu kay. Kinalif sapi aktok taudu kami kilamitaw. Dabra ivaktane taudu kay.
Ok, d'accord, le bolas lui a rien fait. J'ai voulu essayer pour voir, mais bon.
Kinalif sapi aktok taudu kami kilamitaw. Dabra ivaktane.
Ah, il cherchait les bolas depuis le début. Fuyons, fuyons! Cours, Forest, cours! Moi qui voulais le petit jeu tranquille ce soir.
Annap khaslik kalwaktuk. Agalan igilaw ningap si kakanaksisi nyaktuk.
Puis tout s'arrêta brièvement et le vent repartit. Il est difficile d'apercevoir quoi que ce soit dans ce blizzard.
Malaguguni ubuluguni wisa ubulutik. Dabra tuwakaruam tikitchu. Agalan tuwabit pagabitchu.
2 jours qu'ils ont pas graillé quand même.
Siku nalunaktuk anok igilaganayak silang.
Oh là 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 là. Oh non! Non, 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 non. Venez! Je suis mort noyé. Non, 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 non! Je vais pas monter là normalement. Oh si. Oh oh. Oups. Il y avait un truc à faire mais je sais pas. Aïe! Non, c'était pas ça non plus. Il fallait que je le fasse monter sur le pont. Monsieur le petit poisson. Oui, écoute. Ouf.
Pisasa ko may akalo ko nanok. Anak ko rin. Pinatitaka rin. Kami nanok. Bikat jalay.
Monsieur l'a dit, un ours ne se relâche pas. Un ours affamé ne se relâche pas si facilement.
We're very much aware of the climate change. And it's been for many years, even before climatologists were noticing the change, Inuit were already saying, Sila alangoktok. Our climate is changing.
If the heat is going the way it is right now, for us it's going to be pretty bad. Different birds are coming, and they're coming earlier, and sometimes rain is more than what we want, because when there's more rain, we know it's going to melt the permafrost.
In my time as a young whaler, when I was 9 years old, we're hunting from ice that was about 25 feet thick. And there was giant icebergs already floating, coming by. That was the first signs of a changing climate. Ice that never broke before was now moving. Now, here it is 50 years later, we're hunting whale from ice that's 18 inches thick. There's no more thick ice.
It's creating a malfunction in our whaling season is what it is. Actually more than that, all seasons in general.
I think we are more scientists than more people will realize. We have more knowledge of those things than people will ever know.
The scariest I've ever been, I was 12 years old. We floated out on a piece of ice while we were duck hunting. It was a bluebird day, just clear blue skies, and there was 3 of us, myself, my brother, and my dad. Next thing you know, we see this dark shadow on the ice. We look and it goes behind us. So we all jumped up, startled, and my dad, he started running. We got back to the ridge there. The ice had fractured, cracked, and broke off, and we were floating away. We were drifting. It was close enough to where my dad would have made it. He stopped and he thought about throwing us across, and if one of us was on the other side, we would be split up. So he stopped, and he just so happened to have a cell phone on him.
Téléphone portable, s'il te plaît.
Didn't pick up.
Allez, et secours pas répondu.
Feeling in the world right there. 911 did not pick up. So he left a message because they record their calls. Once he had relayed that information, his cell phone died. That was the scariest moment I've ever had in my life. We were floating away and I thought we were left for dead. He kept calm during this situation. He's bringing out everything positive in this case. You know, I'm crying, my brother's freaking out. It went from clear blue to dense fog. Within a couple hours, we heard the chopper flying around, so they must have gotten our message. We thought we were saved, and then the chopper sound went away. So we lit some of the sled on fire. It's plastic. We thought black smoke in the fog would create some kind of marker. Chopper pilot had mentioned when we got rescued, you could see a glow in the fog, and he slowed down there, and sure enough, as soon as he slowed down, we got within visual. That was definitely the scariest moment of my life, was floating away and not knowing what the outcome was going to be.
Il y a de quoi avoir peur, frère. Allez, on continue.
Magalang naman na adlaw. Lanik sa kalubayak.
Oh, frère. Vite, quoi, non? Non, on attend. Ce n'est pas possible. Renard, viens!
My brother was out seal hunting. He got attacked from behind and managed to grab his knife and save himself. When he came to realize, oh no, it's a mother. We've always known traditionally that we avoid killing a mother. It's always been sacred to us to protect them. He had to present himself to the council, and so he was given the job to mother the baby, and we kept it. It got so big, it went over the barricade one day and got to the dog food, and that was an indication that,
Ah, c'est chaud ça, cette partie-là est vraiment compliquée.
Survive on its own. So he did. I really got attached to the bear because I more or less grew up with
Attaché à
it.
un ours.
And some days when brother took him walking, once in a great while he'd put me on the bear and I would ride on it like a horse. I was just happiest little girl in the world.
Bonne chérie. C'est mignon. Aïe. Désolé, hop. On va voir si c'est mieux comme ça. Maintenant, faut passer à écraser. Et si on n'a pas à nous faire pull-up? Cours! Très bien. Oh, mais il est encore là, lui, c'est pas possible.
Tapko tikisakak nannupsit raga. Asi piyumagili picture tikissak.
Mais comment j'ai fait là? non, mais bim. Cassons-nous d'ici.
Dabra an nagkalawaktuk. Agalan ilitsuriluk. Magpapiak silangan nunang atimigini.
Désolé, j'étais en train d'éternuer. Alors, continuons. Hop.
Niveak siagalu alugulo. Dirigan niagalu imaaktuk. Asi takium angalat kaksip.
Allez, on a fait un coup de Jonas.
Takium igukay kairu sunginyon puktakpau. Ara kanuhurik tema ipingit pak.
Bien que Unu Kayuka, le bon chasseur partant, dégagé, la tempête de neige empêchait toute chasse. Faut qu'on nage là, sérieux? Est-ce qu'il y a le concept de retenir sa respiration? Attends, tu me dis que je nage là et que depuis tout à l'heure là, je me noie à chaque fois que je tombe dans l'eau? Pour les purs peut-être? Non, pas par là.
In, Arctic Alaska, hunting
Ah mince, c'est bon. My bad.
In, Arctic Alaska, hunting is a
Bébé, qu'est-ce qui se passe, hein? Pourquoi ce bug commence?
in, Arctic Alaska, hunting is a really important part of life. It's not just about going and shooting something, it's about going and putting food on the table. But more importantly, subsistence hunting isn't just about the insular family unit, it's about feeding the whole community. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about subsistence hunting in Alaska is that people go out and they'll go get, fish, or they'll get a caribou, and they'll get, seals and whales. And one of the first things they'll do is they'll say, oh, I need to take this to the elders. This isn't just about one individual surviving or one family surviving, it's about the whole community.
We didn't just go out and kill and put in a freezer. It's like a ritual that I learned from my parents.
It's all about relationship. I don't know. I think there's a lot of camaraderie involved, and just being out on the land or being out on the ocean. It's like getting back in tune.
I'd rather be out there. To me, once I go out there, it's the world that I learn from.
Non, si je passe dans l'autre côté que j'ai rien nu, je pense que ici, là, ça va être bon aussi. Ça va me tomber sur la tronche, ça. Il y a de l'eau là, frère. Ça pue cette idée. Non, c'est bon. Allez, c'est parti. Us. Us. Et comme j'ai sauté comme un bouffon, faut tout recommencer. Oh non. Ah si. Ah bah oui. Alors comprendre un peu ce qui se passe. Non mais. Oh le jump. Allez, c'est l'heure de se faire une petite glissade. Oups. Faut que c'est pas aller plus loin parce qu'il y a les picots en bas là. Pourquoi il vient pas? Easy, bro. Oups. Désolé, gamin. Et voici comment je suis mort noyé.
Now we spend all our time out in nature. You get very intimate with the world. And over time, if you're living that life, you start to sense that everything has a spirit. There's a consciousness in everything. Everything is alive. If everything is alive, then we want to respect it. And if we're going to use it, we want to use it respectfully.
What I try to tell my nephews and nieces, you know, you love to hunt, you have to take care of the animals that you catch, preparing the food and eating the food that you catch.
Water provides you. The ice brings you life. It provides all those things that you need to be a part of your life.
That was something I grew up with. I grew up respecting the animals. I grew up respecting the land. And that, to me, that is why we as Inupiaq, as an Inupiaq culture, as an Inupiaq people, is why we're so successful.
Est-ce qu'il y a une sortie par là? Je ne crois pas. La lumière du soleil par là, donc. Mais Pourquoi m'empêche de passer là en fait? Ah ok. Ah, my bad. Erreur de direction. On va essayer de pas se faire picoti picota là non plus. De toute façon, je peux aller nulle part d'autre. Hein. Ah, peut-être par là. Et là, j'avais pas accès à la tout à l'heure là parce que l'eau était pas si haute. Et je peux pas sauter quand je suis dans l'eau. D'accord. Ah, mais il y a l'eau. Ah ouais, ouais, ça fait une vraie barrière. Quoi. Je croyais que c'était un arrière-plan, mais pas du tout. Je sais pas. Le partage pour survivre.
I think most central to the ideology of the Inupiat is the idea of sharing.
Being able to feed the community, feed others. That's why we hunt. You know, in the old days, that's what you needed to survive. You know.
The sharing is important because it's how the community survives together collectively.
We just give. That's how I grew up. That's the way I'm always gonna be. Because of who we are, we always think about other people first.
If our people didn't share in the old days, we wouldn't have survived in this harsh climate environment.
Et Renard, pose-toi! encore plus de flotte.
Nibeaksiarologulo, teriganiagalo, shuvloraik, akavirom kingamigum. Shuvloraik, akavirom silamon, ilakataktuak silamon. Tipineraik, sanganut, nunaken.
Alors, juste un instant, je vais redémarrer le stream parce que je crois qu'il bug. Hop. C'est ma box qui avait décodé. Hop. Parce qu'il lui arrivait, vous voulez plus rien afficher. Ça fonctionnait encore, mais j'avais plus le tableau de bord, plus rien. Hop, hop. Et ça me semble pas mal. J'ai même Alicia qui s'est mis à jour entre temps, faut vous dire. La pauvre fait tellement de choses. Allez, on continue. Monsieur Hibou. Allez, est-ce qu'il y a Monsieur Hibou dans le coin?
Big Tamid, Little Tamid, and King Island. And in those three islands are the stepping stones to get to America.
So King Island is this absolutely beautiful place off the coast of Alaska. And if you can imagine being on this really kind of rocky island that kind of shoots up from the water to these cliffs. And then all of a sudden you see these stilts and then you look up and there are these houses.
They were built on the cliff up high because of the ice. Being an island in the Bering Sea, you have ice that's being pushed by the winds onto the island. So it's going to pile up 50, 60 feet high. Structures are still there today, and people have returned to King Island. It's a growing community as the people return back to their island.
Ah, donc c'est quand j'active cette option-là qu'il y a le petit ralentissement. Et là, c'est clean, tout va bien. Il y a un trou là, non?
Damna nunakek, Ingitchuna. Tainaptaak pingabulugo. Ibeaksiagarolum ay makaviatun.
Ma foi, ça n'a pas l'air bien solide tout ça. Allez, on jump. 1, 2, 3, go. Voilà. Ok, c'était pas une très bonne idée. Alors, on la refait moins crispée. Par contre, pas juste là, toi. Là-haut. Excuse-moi. J'ai pris choc le saut. Pris choc le saut et je me suis cassé la tronche.
J'ai glissé, chef.
Kigokayat kaumak titkat nunaket.
L'aurore boréale derrière. Oh, ok. Mais de l'autre côté. Ah. Monsieur le renard, faudra faire vite, hein. Très bien.
When I was young, my mom, whenever the Northern Lights came out, she just whistle.
Boy, they come alive. Just keep whistling and that aurora will just like, you can almost hear it.
And then she explained to me a little bit later that those are children, and children who've passed away when they were children. You don't want to draw them in too much, is what she said, because then they could play football with your head, play a small football, and that's what they want to do. They're always playing.
Ne les attire pas trop près, sinon ils vont jouer au football avec ta tête.
Out without your hood on. If you don't have your hood on, the aurora
Les
person
enfants de l'aurore vont venir te couper la tête pour jouer au foot avec.
It wasn't like they were trying to do bad, or it was
C'était
like
pour faire peur aux
a
enfants,
scary
ça.
story or anything like that. It was just that's how it was. That's what it was.
Pauvre enfant. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a encore? Ok, on va éviter qu'elle nous touche la tête. Hein. Hop. Je ne verrai plus jamais les aurores boréales de la même manière. J'avais sauté en fait. Hein. J'ai de tricheur. J'avais sauté. Regarde ce qu'il fait. Et je vous assure à 100% que j'ai sauté. On va attendre. On va être patient. Qu'est-ce qu'il fait? Qu'est-ce qu'il fait? Il est rapide celui-là. Pourquoi j'ai voulu lâcher ce vieux double saut et m'est réveillé jusque. Mais bon, au moins, on sait quoi faire par ici. Hop, 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 hop. J'ai bien appuyé sur le bouton pour sauter. Pourquoi je suis allé là en fait? Attends. C'est bien beau d'être allé là, mais je sais pas où aller après.
In the month of November, there's no sun. So during that dark time, we travel by the light of the moon. It's quite different. Everything was silver and black. Toward the horizon, we could see where caribou are because their body heat flowing upward, and we could see it glowing in the moonlight against a dark horizon where there's no stars. If somebody yelled, you could know who yelled from where the sound came from, but specifically where that cloud of their breath went up and it glowed in the moonlight. So that was a good time to travel. It was very surrealistic. And so things that were dark objects look very close and white objects look very far.
C'est une expérience, hein. Je crois que nous allons nous arrêter ici pour ce soir, messieurs, dames. Ce jeu est magnifique. Je vous le conseille. Alors, si vous cherchez, cherchez bien Never Alone, Kisima, Ingitchuna. J'ai pas Never Alone seulement. Ça va pas vous donner le bon produit. Sur ce, prenez soin de vous. Passez une bonne soirée. Monsieur Croque-Mitaine.